Good evening and welcome everyone. You're watching Match Point with your host Hamza Alai, and you're watching it at N6 TV Canada. You also can watch us and view us on our Facebook and YouTube page. What a day of cricket we had today. Let's move towards our headlines and so we can introduce our guests later on with them. Thank you. The most important headlines from today was the Sri Lanka Bangladesh match. The World Cup match would have not made any changes to the table, but the most important change would be the team winning, going to the Champions Trophy. And what a controversial game because of the timed out run out or timed out Angelo Matthews going out has done to it. And this will be discussed with all of our um, participants. So I have Dr. Adnan, who's from
Headlines. First of all, welcome to the Pubudu and the Sri Lankan Test player and the national coach of Canada, and welcome to Gurpreet ji to the show, and Hamza, welcome you also, and welcome to all of my viewers and all the listeners on the Match Point who are watching our show. So the big headlines, as Hamza has explained to you, Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka is the peak entertainment, and who knows, a new cricket rivalry, one of the biggest rivalries, India versus Pakistan, England versus Australia. And now, since some recent times in the past, we are seeing some Nagan dance and Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh. Out of nowhere, this rivalry started and is carrying on. Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh rivalry is right now after the Angelo Matthews happening, as Hamza has told you, is going to the next levels, believe me. Sri Lankan players refused to shake hands with the Bangladesh after the match. Captain Kusal Mendes took the team straight out of the ground without congratulating the opponents. Very rare happenings in the cricket field, which should not have happened. But this is not the first time. This happened in some league games back in the past. If the show continues, and if I remember, I will tell you some county examples where it happened. And unfortunate Sri Lankans, the champions of the 1996 Cricket World Cup, they have been knocked out of the World Cup 2023 officially. Sad moments for them. Angelo Matthews, the veteran player, is the first ever batter to be timed out in the international cricket, which is in the 146 years of long cricketing history. This incident never happened in the international cricket. Matthew confirms that Sri Lankan Cricket Board will put the video evidence, as there was a 5 second time left out in that timeout. We will also discuss this. Matthew said that this is the lowest in an opposition team stooped in his 15-year career. He has never seen such low in the opposition, and who knows, might be he is right. We will also discuss this thing along with the Bangladesh skipper Shakib Al Hassan. We will put this thing in the review. And the six from the Kusal Mendes, when the informed batsman and the captain when hit the 464th six of the this edition of the Cricket World Cup. So it was most in any of the World Cup. He broke out the record. The previous record is of the 463 sixes which were hit in the Cricket World Cup being played in Australia and New Zealand. Now the most sixes record has been shattered out in this very World Cup. Angelo Matthews threw away his helmet at the boundary rope in frustration, and he is likely to face a match fee fine after this incident. But in the next 1 or 2 days, couple of days, the match referee will confirm, and we will give you the news that if there is a fine applicable or not on the Matthews. In the heartwarming gesture, Pakistan, after winning the game, unbelievable game with Pakistan chasing out the 400 plus total, Pakistan men's received a warm welcome as they departed from the Bengaluru to the Calcutta on the chartered flight in which Pakistan team was flying. It was with the full colors of green and white on the plane, and they did attribute to the victory of Pakistan over the New Zealand, the unbelievable victory. Afghanistan Pakistan rivalry has confirmed that it is happening in the backyard of Pakistan, as Afghanistan have qualified for the 2025 Champions Trophy. So too much of the off-field drama is being expected in this Champions Trophy. Next news: Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh have recorded the lowest viewership of the World Cup so far. Very terrible state of cricket, as we are seeing some very highs for the viewership. So this was the lowest viewership recorded on any of the World Cup since from the 1975, and very much in this 2023 cricket World Cup. And Sri Lankan cricket body has been suspended after the audit file reported the suspension of a 6 crore rupees to watch the T20 World Cup in Australia last year for the 14 people. A big story right now today, which was released, and Sri Lanka have sacked the entire board for the team's poor performance in the World Cup, and the former batter and the World Cup winning captain and the hero of Sri Lanka, the World Cup winning skipper Arjuna Ranatunga, has been appointed as the interim head of cricket committee of the upcoming matches for the Sri Lanka. Ji Hamza.
At least very interesting to say the start with. The spirit of the cricket was in question, and as Dr. Adnan has mentioned, how low can a team go? But that also shows how desperate a team are to win a game regardless how they win it, because they wanted to qualify for the champions trophy. So that desperation has kicked in. And also the final statement of the Shakib Al Hassan, where he said, I am playing for my country and I am at war. So in war there is nothing right or wrong. That is for people to believe how they perceive it. But I did what I need to do for my country, and that is the far more important thing for me. But the crucial point I have, Dr. Adnan and Pobudu over here, is that what were the match officials doing? What is the job of the umpires? When the player reached within time, he was ready to play, he took his stance. But after that, when he pulls his straps, he finds out that the strap is broken. At that point, it is not a timeout. To me, the way I interpret the law, to me, it becomes a malfunctioning of a cricketing gear, which is totally different from what how he was given out. So I think the officials, the match umpires, they were unable to handle it properly and gave him out, which made the frustration go larger. I would leave it open to both of you, but I think this was not handled properly by the match officials.
So, Hamza, let us introduce Pubudu Disyanke to the party. The international debut of Pubudu Disyanke came in the August 1993 against South Africa. Sri Lankan former test cricketer. He has played 11 tests for the Sri Lanka and the 16 ODIs for Sri Lanka, and he has coached average Premier League side Bhairawa Gladiators, United States team, Nepal, and Canada. And wherever Pubudu puts hand, that team plays for the World Cup, and they become the nation to remember later on. Welcome, Pubudu, to the show Match Point.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Pubudu. So, what's your say on this match? In short, the rivalry, apart from the rivalry of the Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, which we are seeing since long time. So, the happening on the field between the Shakib Al Hassan and the Matthews, how do you see this matter going on?
I mean, firstly, my view about, like, you say, when it comes to this game, we love this game, and I just, as a player, as a coach, I always had respect for the game other than anything. So, even from my coaching point of view, we want to win games, we want to do well, but we don't like, spirit of the game is so important for any team to move forward. So in my books, like, I don't think that we should be doing these things, like, if somebody we want to get somebody out, like, ball has to bowl, and get him out. So that's that's my personal view. um, but again, that, like, there's a lot of controversials, like, when it comes to the so whatever said, and then Shakib appeal, and the umpires also, I thought he came to the stance. He was on the stance, like, to face the ball, and then when he pulled the strap, strap came out. It's a genuine case, and I thought, like, the even the officials are at fault, kind of, like, to give that out. But the rule is written in a such a way that it's very controversial, because it's not fine tuned. I mean, like you said at the beginning, is the first time ever happened in this level. So I mean, that means it's time for to review uh, that rule. Um, uh, uh, but I don't see any fault from Matthew's end, because he was ready to go until that strap is broken, and when the strap is broken, and when you need to change your gear, it doesn't it doesn't matter. You need to change it, whatever time, doesn't matter, you need to change it. So otherwise you are not ready for the next ball. So the decision, when the umpires were giving that decision, they should have taken that to consideration. But uh, that happened, and I think, like, more than anything, like, this is like one thing is the first time this incident happened, and the Bangladesh Sri Lanka, the games that the rivalry that we had for a long period, and there was one incident happened in Sri Lanka. I'm not sure exactly which tournament. I think maybe Asia Cup. There was a very high heated game happened in some years ago. uh, I think with today's incident, it's going to hurt more the relationship ship between the two countries when it comes to cricket. It's really hurt. I don't know how he's going to move forward with that. It's sad. It's sad for the game.
Would be agreeing with this that if Angelo Matthews would have been there and he would have played some overs, the thing would have been quite different for Sri Lanka. Might be the acceleration of scoring, or Sri Lanka could have been trying to reach near to the 300. Could have been the way towards the Sri Lanka the game. There was a very interesting stuff that if the batter has been timed out without coming out of the pavilion onto the field, then the batting captain can time out any of the batsmen. But unfortunately, Angelo Matthews were out, because I think in the cricket books, the rule 41.1.1 says that if the player is in the dressing room and was unable to come, you have to match out, I mean, time out one batsman. But then the captain of the batting side thinks that which batsman I have to leave. And then they have a chance to leave out number 10 or number 11 or something like that. But in this case, it was very unlucky. And even Sri Lankans are claiming that the time out of the 2 minutes was not full. That was 150 or 155, some people are saying. And even I have seen Kusal Pereira or someone was arguing with Ian Bishop later on the field also. I think they were trying to convince, although he was not in the panel, but they were because everyone was discouraged because what Shakib did, that was not right thing. Even he was asked that if he has to take it back this decision, but he declined the idea. He said if it is in the rule, it is in the rules. So anyhow, how do you see if Angelo Matthews would have been there, any impact on the batting, and what would have been the difference of the batting?
No, definitely. I mean, like, Sri Lanka really was looking for a partnership there, and like, even at the 279, I thought 279 was par score. You need another 30-40 runs, like, to put the pressure onto the other team. If it is 310, anything over 300, it would have been a different game. Even though it's just 20-30 runs extra, it would have been a different game for Bangladesh when they're chasing anything over 300. Um, Matthews, like, I mean, he just came in the middle of the World Cup, like, team, but he's always a player that who can make an impact. Um, Sri Lanka actually, like, where earlier, like Sadira and Sri Lanka was batting. They were batting so well, and I think I thought like Sadira rushed too early. If they had built up the partnership a bit longer, they would have got 300. And Matthew's been there, would have been close to 300. So it's a, I mean, uh, it, uh, we all know that Sri Lanka was short, uh, and bowlers has to bowl extra bit extra, like bowlers has to put extra effort to defend that. I don't think Sri Lanka bowled enough good enough to defend that today.
Gurpreet ji, about the Sri Lankan opening. Sri Lankan opening, we have seen that Kusal Mendes, when he has been given the ranks of the captain of the Sri Lanka, he was in little bit disarray. His performance is declining day by day. Do you think that he is taking too much the pressure of captaincy or something like that? Because usually when the same thing we have seen in the Pakistan skipper Babar Azam, that Babar is not in that clique in which Babar was in 2019 and before his captaincy ranks. And Sachin Tendulkar, a big example from India we have seen in the past, that when he was given the captaincy ranks, he was on the back foot. But soon it was handed over to the Ganguly. He was back in the boots. So, do you think that these things will matter? And even and some words for Sri Lanka, who played really well, a magnificent 100, knowing that the Sri Lankans qualification is at the par for the Champions Trophy. Lot of things at stake. How do you see these things?
Absolutely. First thing first, I think it definitely impacted his own batting. Now he's thinking about who will be the next bowler, where do I place the fielding, if I need to change any batting lineup, who should I change, who should be my go-to bowler, who should be my go-to batsman. So those things impact your batting. Whereas before that, he was only thinking about the inning, like I have to balance the inning this way, and his batting was immaculate. He started with a bang in this tournament, and as soon as he became the captain, you can see there is a clear dip. But overall, I still think 279 for this ground, given the fact that Sri Lankan bowling, they should have been able to give it a much more better fight. And having said that, had Asalanka kept that catch, right? He dropped a catch. If he would have taken that catch, I think things would have been different, and this game would have been much more closer than what we have seen. But also, Sri Lankan cricket is on a decline. We know that as a fact. It is not the same Sri Lankan team which was in 2011, 2015, 2019. So you can clearly see the match winners are not there. Yes, it's a young team. It will take some time before they develop into a good formidable unit. And with the injuries, it feels like a hospital ward right now. One person come, one goes, one come, one goes. They at this present time, they have five of their main players who are not in this team, so that impacts any team. And you have literally seen what happened to New Zealand against Pakistan. After scoring 400 runs, once you only have two main bowlers bowling, things can be different. And same thing applies to any team. And injuries are a big part and parcel of this World Cup.
So about the bowlers, Pabudu, I will come back to you for the Sri Lanka, a one-man army, Madhushanka, 20 plus wickets. What an amazing performance. And no one is near him who can support him from the other end. Rajitha with the eight, one-man army. So how do you rank Madhu? How you saw him? I really liked this guy. Putting the Yorkers at will, good bounce, good movement of the ball, amazing bowling at this World Cup. What about Madhushanka?
No, I mean it's great to see him. I mean, one thing is that as a youngster, you are basically leading the World Cup wickets. Like that's a great achievement. At the same time, like as a coaching point of view, when we look at the technical side of him, like the run up, the action, the control that he has, and when he wants to deliver something, he is so accurate. Execution is so good for a youngster. Like I think he's perfect. Like moving forward for Sri Lanka. But only thing is, I hope that Sri Lanka will take care of him well. We saw that same caliber from Chamira when he came into the side, and but he was so much more, so many times he was down with injuries, and like never was able to play for a longer period to get. So so Sri Lanka, like, couldn't use him properly, and I hope Madhushanka also, like, uh, they need to take care of him well for the longer run.
Yeah, I absolutely believe so. I mean, they took the game away from Sri Lankans at one point, unless Matthews was given the ball again. Before that, me and Gurpreet was sitting and we were saying that, oh, I think we made a wrong prediction. We made the prediction for 60-40 yesterday, that 60% there's a chance Sri Lanka will win this game. They're heavy on the books. They got big names like Matthews and everyone who's got more experience. So we were watching each other and we were like, what's going on? What's going on with this inning? Shakib promoting himself from down there, coming second down, and making that innings go away. But a bit of retribution for Angelo Matthews when he picked him up. It was watching a movie where where the villain gets out and the hero shows him the door, the way he showed him his watch and said, you got to go. And Shantu got out in the next hour, back to back wickets for him. But as you said, there was no sporting end from the other side. They were, to my understanding, 30 short, which Matthews could have done. If he was playing 30, would have made so much difference. Tik Shane got last two wickets, which he was very unsuccessful all over his World Cup. But he's got two wickets, but he gave those extra 15 runs in last 2 hours, which was unnecessary. Wide balls and wide fours, which just leaked those runs away. And the last hour or so, they had probably 7 runs to defend, which was nothing to move.
I want to ask you one more question regarding the Sri Lankan bowling. That you are yourself the player from the Kandy, a known place from the Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka producing the excellent spinners in the past, with the exceptions of Mutaya Murlidharan, Hasaranga, or before
Rangana Herath.
Rangana Herath. So where the things are going, where the spinners are, where those mystery people are.
Sri Lanka always, like, produce good spinners, even like not in my days, but even recently, like there was so there's a few good spinners came in. But I mean, like, I haven't been in the Sri Lankan system for a long time now, but from outside, what I see is, like, I don't think that we take care of them, good enough, because like all these spinners who came through recently, there was lots of shuffling. Like, no one actually had played like basically given a good stretch of, like, run to perform. And I also, I think, like, a little bit of a confusion about, like, because of tests and one days and T20s. uh, some of these spinners were given labels like you are only a test player, or you're only a ODI player, or T20 player. um, and because of that, I still feel that we are not playing the best spinners. Um, Also, having said that, like, if Hasaranga was fit enough to play, he would have made a bit of different from his bowling and batting both. He's a match winner. He always pick wickets, and we don't have that caliber of spinner who can pick up wickets regularly in this World Cup. So that's maybe one big reason that Sri Lanka is not performing.
So, Bubudu, lot of youngsters in the Sri Lankan cap, and they are playing really very beautiful innings for as their batsmen, as their bowlers. But do you think that there will be some negative impact on them? What the board is doing and what's happening in the board, conspiracy theories and the corruption stories, the sacking stories. So, what will be the impact on the mental health of these players? So, how that Sri Lanka will try to come it out, and what will be the impact of now the World Cup winning captain Arjuna Ranatunga in the action. So how you see the things shaping out in the future in the coming 4 to 6 months?
My overall view, like, is that I mean, when it comes to the board levels, especially in Asia, uh, even in some other big countries like Australia or South Africa, Zimbabwe, like there's so many if issues are there at the board level. uh, but there are many countries, even in Asia, managed so well that the cricket cannot be touched. We all get at the board level. You can have differences. You can have all these other issues that they need to sort out, but the cricket has to be run properly. And one thing that Sri Lanka having uh, is that, like, is drained down to cricket. Like, there's a lot of involvement from the administration to the players, um, whether it's a selection or whether it's a player management or any plans, like development plans, everything, like, directly the administration at the top is involved to the bottom. And I think, like, they need to give uh, uh, that to the experts to handle the cricket part, and the top has to take care of the administration. So I think once that is divided properly, I think things will get better in Sri Lanka. But I'm not sure how the new interim committee is going to work on. But I'm surely Arjun Rantu coming in. He's a strong character, as we all know. And uh, we all hoping, we as cricket lovers, and as a cricketer from Sri Lanka, we all hope whoever comes, like, put the things on the right direction. Otherwise, we are sliding down, and we haven't stopped sliding down. It's still, we are in the steep going down. So somebody has to put a stop first and bring them up. So we are hoping the new administration will do something better.
Ji Gurpreet ji, your final words on the match, and then we will move next on the predictions and the next things.
Yeah, I think if we look at it, Bangladesh played very well when they were chasing. They never gave up. They started well. Then there was a dip. Then there was a big partnership. Then again there was a dip. But eventually, slowly and steadily, they won this game, and that clearly shows one thing, that it is only a one-man army, as you have mentioned. Other than Madhu Shankar, there was nobody else who could. I don't know what is wrong with Theekshana, but he does not look to be the same bowler that he was before the World Cup. Maybe there is an injury, or there is a niggle that he's not showing, or they don't have enough players. And also, there is um, um, another bowlers, Vela Lage, he's not the same bowler that we saw in the Asia Cup, and the rest of their bowling attack does not seem to be on par with Madhu Shankar, and that is a big liability in terms of stopping any other team less than 280, 290. So that is where they lost the game. I think, as the Pabudu has also mentioned, and we are saying the same thing, that they are going downwards. It's a downward slide, and they must act to stop this slide. Otherwise, the cricket can go very, very down, just like what happened to Zimbabwe, just happened to Kenya. So let's hope this does not happen to Sri Lankan cricket, because they have a good system and they have a good team at under 19. So they produce cricketers who can be good at international level.
अब अगले सेगमेंट पे जाने से पहले एक किलर फैक्टर है, अगर म्यूजिक हमारे पास स्टूडियो में तैयार है तो म्यूजिक लगाएं, ताकि आपको एक स्टोरी बताऊं मैं आज का जो वाकया हुआ एंजेलो मैथ्यूज का और शकीब अल हसन का, इसके बारे में कुछ फन फैक्ट्स हैं मेरे पास। जी, तो मुझसे ये पूछा गया, गुरप्रीत जी और हमजा, कि क्या आज से पहले क्रिकेट की तारीख में 146 ईयर्स हिस्ट्री में ऐसा वाकया टाइम आउट का हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ। इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट में आज तक टाइम आउट का वाकया नहीं हुआ, लेकिन यस, क्रिकेट की तारीख में एक मरतबा 146 ईयर्स हिस्ट्री, वन टाइम दिस हैपेंड बिफोर। And the only time batter was dismissed timeout, that was the Indian soil. Hemu Yadev of Tripura, he was playing against Odisha at the Cuttack on 20th of December 1997 in the Ranji Trophy game. And for some reasons or anyhow, Yadev, who was playing at number 11, he could not come out of the pavilion and he was given time out for the very first time in the history of cricket on 20th December 1997. Ji Hamza.
वीडियो मैंने देखी है या जो बाद में दिखाई भी गई है कि बाकायदा क्रीज में खड़े हुए मैथ्यूज़ और मैथ्यूज़ ने गार्ड लिया और गार्ड लेने के बाद जिस तरह नॉर्मली हर बैट्समैन का एक अपना परसोना होता है, कुछ अपने एल्बो गार्ड छेड़ते हैं, कुछ अपना हेलमेट टाइट करते हैं। वहाँ पे मैथ्यू ने हेलमेट टाइट करना शुरू किया तो उनको एहसास हुआ कि स्ट्रैप जो है वो दूसरी तरफ से निकल चुका है और उन्होंने 12th मैन को इशारा किया। अब क्रीज में दाखिल हो जाना और गार्ड ले लेना और बॉलर का अपनी जगह पे चले जाना, क्या ये अलामात नहीं थे कि ही वाज रेडी टू फेस द बॉल? हमें 2 मिनट्स रूल का तो पता है। क्या उसने पूरे अपने फीचर्स को पूरा नहीं किया? थोड़ा-सा ये हमारे फेसबुक पेज पे भी सवाल था, इसको ज़रा एड्रेस करते चलिए।
जी, गो अहेड डॉक्टर अदनान।
जी जी गुरप्रीत जी, आप बताइए पहले।
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल, मैं तो 100% इस चीज़ से एग्री करता हूँ कि ही वाज़ नॉट आउट। इन माय बुक्स ही वाज़ नॉट आउट, ही वाज़ देयर ऑन द क्रीज। अब मैं काउंटर क्वेश्चन एक और इसमें ऐड कर देता हूँ। व्हाट इफ दिस वुड हैव हैपेंड आफ्टर 1 बॉल? तो क्या वो हेलमेट नहीं चेंज करता? वो हेलमेट चेंज करता। इट्स अ सेफ्टी इशू, इट्स अ क्रिकेटिंग गियर माल फंक्शनिंग, इट डज नॉट अप्लाई। जो रूल था वो एप्लीकेबल था कि 2 मिनट में वो क्रीज पे आए और वो रेडी हो। ही वॉज रेडी। आफ्टर दैट उनका हेलमेट जो था इज नॉट वर्किंग फाइन, तो उन्होंने वो हेलमेट चेंज करने के लिए था। ऐसा नहीं था कि ही डिड नॉट शो अप ऑन द क्रीज जब वो लेट थे। ही वॉज ऑलरेडी देयर एंड ही वॉज रेडी टू फेस द बॉल। तो मेरी निगाह में तो ये अंपायर्स थे, जो ऑफिशियल्स थे, उनको रूल बुक का प्रॉपर तरीके से जो गाइडेंस नहीं थी। अगर उनके पास नहीं थी तो वो थर्ड अंपायर के पास जाते। ये इंटरवीन उसी वक्त होना चाहिए था, क्योंकि हीट ऑफ द मोमेंट में बांग्लादेश वांट टू विन, तो उन्होंने तो कहना ही था हम अपील वापस नहीं लेंगे। अगर हाइंडसाइट में अब दोबारा से बैठ के यही क्वेश्चन उनको करा जाएगा तो आई थिंक वो बोलेंगे कि हमसे गलती हो गई एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। तो हमें अपील वापस लेनी चाहिए थी, बट मेरे को लगता है कि वहाँ अपील बनती ही नहीं थी। ही वॉज रेडी टू प्ले, इक्विपमेंट माल फंक्शनिंग हुआ है एंड ही शुड बी नॉट आउट।
And I came to know, I will just add Gurpreet ji one thing. Babu ji, again, he joined us in the show. I think to the Babu and Gurpreet, I will tell that I think that Shakib was not at all willing at the first instance. He got motivated by his players. If you see the scenario over there, some players were involved, and from the mid on, one player also rushed towards him, and they made his thoughts converted to the decision that just go and we will appeal against Sri Lanka. Shakib, in the first instance, he was not ready for this. And the second thing, knowing the personality of Shakib Al Hassan, he's been little bit volatile. Whether he is playing in the Bangladesh League, whether he is playing in the IPL. If in the past you remember, he took out the 3 wickets. He also kicked the wickets. First of all, I don't remember which match was this, but in the league game, he just with the boots he smashed all the wickets. This is a very rare instances. Once I remember back in the past, Michael Holding has done that in the past in the 1917, 1979, 1980, when they were on the tour of Pakistan at those times. The team was with the Desmond Haynes and Fawad Bekas at that time. That instance happened, and those aggressive moments are coming in the cricket, but very few. And then the famous incident in the 1932 of Dennis Lilly and Javed Miadat happened. Uh, he was also making him out of the crease and trying to run him out and trying to make him fall. And then Javed Miadat putting the bat. And if you remember, one incidence of like this happened at Calcutta in 1990, in 1997 tour. when the Wasim Akram's Pakistan were on the tour of India, and that famous test match in which the Sachin Tendulkar and Rahul Dravid was bowled on the successive deliveries of Shoaib Akhtar. And later on, in the second game, when Sachin was on the batting and Pakistan has to, this was the second batting of India, the elder brother of Muin Khan, the wicketkeeper Nadeem Khan. He was there. I think he was there as a replacement fielder. From the boundary he threw, and Shoaib Akhtar was bowling, and Sachin was seeing Nadeem Khan, the fielder, and Shoaib Akhtar was also looking upon the fielder. And accidentally, the ball hit the stumps, and Sachin was out of the crease. They appealed, and he got run out. And then I was listening that Wasim Akram was telling one story that he went to the umpire. He said that it is in the books or not. If it is not in the books, it's not fair. I will take this decision back. Umpire said no, it is definitely out and it is very legitimately out. So Wasim Akram said we will keep the decision out. And then there is a famous story, and then 1 lakh people in the Calcutta, they start throwing the stones on the Pakistan fielder, and then the Wasim Akram took the fielders back in the pavilion. A huge incident. Match referee came. Then Sachin went to the ground for a round. He requested the people, but then again the stoning started, and ultimately, first time ever in the history without the coming the COVID-19, the match was played in the empty stadium and Pakistan won the match. So this didn't happen one very first, but there was a little bit different story. Again, the strap involved, the helmet involved, timeout involved, but little different kind of disputes were happening on the cricket field. Yes, Hamza.
Can I add one more thing before we go to the next round? Look, I know that Shakib was worried because if there is a time waste, he will be penalized. They will not be allowed an extra bowler on the field for the boundary. But also, after that, they appealed it. Then the discussion happened. So, where did they save the time? So the whole idea was to save the time and continuity of the game, but they did not save anything. Then they went to umpire. Umpire went to Angelo Matthews. Angelo Matthews said something. Then they went back to the team again. So they wasted more time rather than saving. So I don't know. I clearly think this was a case where the umpires and the match officials did not handle the situation very well. I will not say anything else.
Anyhow, there was a sad day of cricket, and this
Yeah, Atar Ali Khan, the Bengali commentator who was there in the ICC panel, completely said that the Bangladeshi has the full right to play that card, which is inside the rules of the game, or otherwise Bangladesh would have been penalized for 2 hours, as is rightly pointed out by Gurpreet. But Waqar Yunus was live at that time, fortunately at that time, and he said this should not be folded out this way, which it happened, as Gurpreet pointed out. To me, it was not out. I was watching it live. I thought it was ridiculous. The guy was there. He took guard before fixing himself and finding himself that the one of the thing malfunctioned, and he pointed that helmet out plenty of time to the umpire that myself is available on the crease, but one of these safety reasons have malfunctioned. Pubdu, your last comments on it before we move ahead, sir?
Yeah, no, I just want to correct, like, what they're talking about, like, when a batsman takes time for any reason, whether injury or any other reason, that doesn't go to the bowling side timing. Umpires actually mark, okay, 2 minutes he took for this, or if the ball lost, or ball has to change, or anything that happens, like, they calculate the time, they keep the time, and they give that time to the bowling side. So bowling side is never going to get penalized for batters delays.
very good. Yep, valid point.
Talk on the controversial out. Other than that, Shakib Hassan was pronounced player of the match because of his 82 and 2 wickets he took, and of course with the being a captain and taking all that controversial decision, which will be remembered for a very long time. Somehow these rules come into play, and these why these rules are made, and It all depends how you make them and what's the time you're going to use them. Moving on to our tomorrow's pre-match, which is between Australia and Afghanistan, and it's going to be at Wankhede. Starting with you, Gurpreet, what are your thoughts and what is your prediction for tomorrow, sir?
In favor of Australia. Simply reason Australia is too formidable a team, and also considering which ground it is being played. It's being played in Wankhede. If it was at Chennai or Lucknow or Pune, I would have given 60-40 or even 50-50 to Afghanistan the way they are playing. But because this game is at Wankhede and fast bowlers will be in action, so I am completely confident Australia will win easily tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I mean, lots of credit to Afghanistan the way that they are playing, and as it's an improved side, and like I mean, I've been watching them for a long time. I've been in oppositions with them. The way that they improved from around 2010 to now, it's unbelievable, and very nice to see how their top order is batting, and the combination of bowlers like different type of spinners, very disciplined fast bowlers. So very impressive side, and they have come a long way. Um, but when you compare to Australia, I feel that Australia is a team where even though they had a slow start, they have picked up the game, and there's a team that they don't do that many mistakes. They are very good on their basics, and they execute their plans pretty well. So somebody to beat them, like you have to have some extraordinary things. And even though Afghanistan is playing good cricket, they don't have that X factor with them to beat a team like Australia. But I'm expecting a good game, a good competition. I think whatever happens tomorrow's game, I think a lot of credit for Afghanistan team to stay in this level.
99 Australia, 1% Afghanistan. And very clear. Yeah, very clear. And before leaving, Hamza, I
Sure.
with the associate teams, his final words of his work with the United States, Nepal, and Canada, and now where he is seeing Canada in the upcoming World Cup, in the T20 World Cup, and lot of his hard work. So, what is his analysis of these associate teams? And tell Bubudu about your magic, your magical hands when touching the associate teams and they are qualifying for the World Cups. What's special?
No, I mean I always love to work hard and and get put the systems in the right place. So I actually started my coaching career with Canada in 2007. So I was able to get them into 50 World Cup in 2011, and we had a very decent World Cup in India in 2011. And then after that, I moved to Nepal, and Nepal, they were in Division 5 in ICC rankings, and got them into Division 1, and we played the 2014 T20 World Cup. Um, and then the USA, I was there for 3 years, and we got them into ODI status. That I came back to Canada, and we got back the ODI status plus the T20 World Cup. First time they're playing in the T20s. More than anything, I'm so happy that this coming up World Cup in 2024, all my three teams that I coach are qualified to play in that World Cup. So it's a personal achievement for me. So I'm so happy to see all those three teams playing in the same World Cup.
In the Sri Lankan team as a first choice wicketkeeper in the 1993. I think those were the days. In those days, Dave Watmore has joined you guys, or that was after you?
I no 90 here. Dave Watman joined around 1994. So my career basically main time that I spent was before Watmore, but in my last few tours, only he came to the to coach Sri Lanka.
So at the time of Dave Watmore, when you left, Kalu Vitarna was the wicketkeeper later on, or who was the mid in between?
No, Kalu was, and basically kept even my time. I was a test wicket keeper, and Kalu was the one day wicket keeper. In and out, I played few ODIs, but my main focus was test, and Kalu's main focus was ODIs.
Yes. And the last of all, I just want to tell all the viewers that unfortunate day for Sri Lanka and the lovely day for the Bangladesh, for the Bengali fans. They were very disappointed with the tigers all around the neck, and daily they were crying outside the ground. But I think they will be very happy after the win. Win is win for them. And this was the first ever time Bangladesh has beaten Sri Lanka in the World Cup game. With the three games ahead, Bangladesh was never able to beat Sri Lanka in all games. So this World Cup has seen lot of if and buts, but the two stories were same. Pakistan, Sri Lanka never won from Pakistan, and Pakistan never won from India. But other stories have been changing, keep on changing in this World Cup. Yes, Hamza, the final words.
Question to Pubru from my end. What do we expect the Canadian team to do in the coming T20 World Cup? As we are more sitting here, all Canadians, what should we accept? What kind of performance?
I'm in the group. I'm sure there'll be two full members, and then there maybe one or two associate. Firstly, we want to win those associate games. World Cup win is a win, so we wanted to go and win few games. Um, and the way we are moving forward, like after 10 years, we are going to get into the ODI World Cricket League 2 in ICC, and this World Cup is going to help. This preparation to the World Cup is going to help us to perform well in the whole circle of World Cricket League 2. So we're going to push ourselves to do the best, and we're going to be competitive in the World Cup. That's the target.
And
Last
Pubudu, you were the part of the two Canadian teams 2011 and now 2024 you will be. So one team you were with the Ashish Baghai's Canadian team, and now you are with Saad bin Zafar's Canadian team. On the whole comparison of the bunch of all-rounders, spinners, batsmen, which team was the strongest on the papers?
This current team is highly talented group, and like if I'm able to work with this team for a few years, I'm really comfortable to say that, like, this team will go and do a lot of big things like the Netherlands or Namibia, like, the teams that are doing well in that level. We can be one of those teams. Um, but I like 2011 World Cup team also was a very good team. But I would say more than if I had to compare talent wise, I think this team is high talented. But that team in 2011 worked very hard to get into that position. So they had a good bunch of guys, young players who worked really hard to perform in that level. But I'm expecting more things from this team. It's a balanced, talented group, and as you all know that we have contracted the whole team, and they are full timers now. So we're going to train hard. Like, we'll have more time to train. So we're going to train hard and get better every day.
And Pubudu, we have seen the magic of left arm unorthodox in this World Cup. How many you are preparing for the Canadian team in the upcoming World Cup?
We have two good left armers. I mean, Captain Saad is the main left arm spinner, and few other left armers are in the pipeline. We have our spin department is pretty decent, and I'm not sure whether you all heard about Nikhil Datta. He's kind of a
Yeah.
Sunil Narayan type bowler, a mystery bowler. He bowls all the different balls, carom balls, leg spin, googly, all like a mix up. So ideal for the T20 version. Um, it's a balanced group. What we are missing actually is a right arm leg spinner, and unfortunately we don't have any at that caliber. But left armers like mystery spinners, we have it.
So, Pubudu, when you are seeing you and your camp is watching the World Cup games, the Australian World Cup, where the South Africa was beaten by Netherlands, now again beaten by Netherlands, Afghanistan beating England. So, how much you and your camp has been motivated? Do you guys talk about, look, they have done, we have to do it now? So, how does it keeps you on the toes?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked a lot about, like, in 2009 World Cup qualifier, we were one of the best teams. We ended up in the finals with Ireland. We beat Afghanistan, we beat Netherlands, and now some of these teams have overtaken Canada, and now it's time to catch up. Uh, One, like, the negative thing that we have is, like, 10 to 12 years of time that we were out from the ODI circle, so that our cricket really hasn't grown and put basically a full stop. But some other teams like Netherlands, Namibia, and even Nepal, USA, like teams who are behind us, has really gone overtaken and gone a bit far. So we have to do a lot of catching. um, but the positive side is, like, we have a very good team. It's just that we need to play high quality cricket, more competitions and good programs. We'll able to catch few of these teams.
Chima in the past. We are seeing Nikhil Datta. You have mentioned. We know Saad bin Zafar is a good addition. We know Navneet is a good batsman. We know Dilpreet Singh is a very good middle order batsman as well. Is there any shining star that we are not aware that you gonna unleash just at the World Cup? Is there anyone young coming from GTA cricket or anywhere from BC cricket that you are keeping your eyes on and open, that this is the guy to watch out for Canadian cricket?
I mean, basically, you mentioned most of these names, but the best youngster that we have at the moment is Dilpreet Singh, and some of you all saw him in the GD20. Very high talent, and unfortunately, like, I couldn't find him a place in the 11. He was on the tour to Bermuda, but he played only one game. But it's just a matter of time. I'm sure that he will find a place in the 11. And there are a few fast bowlers in the pipeline. We took a couple of fast bowlers to to Bermuda, like, Gurpal Singh. He was in the GD20, but he didn't get any games to play. He's a slinging fast bowler, and a few other fast bowlers are in the pipeline. And I can say that we are one of the associate countries who have two or three, maybe three, fast bowlers who can bowl 135 plus. Not many associate countries has that. So that's the composition that's at the moment. But there's a lot of good youngsters, even in the under 19, last under 19 team. There are a few very good players, so super talent. It's just a matter of time. I'm sure that we can get them into the next level.
Thank you.
And for giving us your time and your input. Let's move towards the table of the World Cup. The only match which happened today has changed. Bangladesh have moved on the seventh spot, and Sri Lanka is on the eighth. Both have the same similar games, similar points, 4 points each, but the net run rate has differentiated, and Bangladesh has gone to the seventh. Sri Lanka still have some of the games. Last question for all of you: would there be any chance of Sri Lanka going into Champions Trophy?
I guess it is possible if they beat New Zealand. I think they have played 8 games or 7 games, so they must win the remaining matches and then they have a chance. But it also depends upon the other teams. How do other teams play their matches? They win or they lose. England still can make if they win their last 2 games. But first thing first, Sri Lanka must win their remaining matches without depending on other teams.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, same points. It's about the net run rate. Sri Lanka has to, like, both teams has to play good cricket to survive in that, keep that seventh place. And Sri Lanka is, like, Sri Lanka doesn't matter where like which team is playing on their day, they will beat anybody. So still there's a chance for Sri Lanka to come to that seventh place.
Sri Lanka is going to the Champions Trophy. They will beat New Zealand and Pakistan will beat England. Take on my words.
If Dr. Adnan has said that Sri Lanka will beat New Zealand coming day, and then Pakistan beating England. That's the prediction in coming days as well. I thank you all, Dr. Nan from. Oh, okay, we love this positiveness from Dr. Nani, and the predictions he have, or the positive signs he's been getting from his cosmetology is been various. He's been spot on from all of his sayings. I mean, me and Gurpreet have failed a couple of times, but let's see. Thursday is not too far away, so as Saturday. So we'll find out who's going ahead with the Champions Trophy, also who's going to go ahead with semi-finals. I thank all of you, especially you, Pubudu, for joining us, giving your precious time. We wish you best of the luck in the T20 World Cup and the best of luck for the Canadian team. And my
We are very appreciating your presence over here.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
You're
it was good to have some insights for the Canadian cricket.
Yeah, thank you.
much, and we'll close our program. Keep watching N6 TV. Keep watching Match Point. We will join you tomorrow. You can watch us, and you can watch our repeat telecast on our Facebook and YouTube channel as well. If you want to carry on and watch this beautiful program, we will see you tomorrow. Thank you, and have a good night.